So for medication side effects, the ALJ must always consider medication side effects. However, the treatment on that is different per circuit. There are some circuits that hold that a client's testimony regarding medication side effects is enough to trigger the ALJ's duty to consider those medication side effects and discuss and consider whether or not it impacts the RFC. However, there are other circuits that hold that if the medication side effects are not presented within the medical records themselves, if it's not documented throughout the longitudinal record, then the ALJ is not faulted for failing to include limitations in the RFC. Basically, even if the client testifies to limitations, if it's not presented in the medical records, the ALJ is free to discount and disregard them. Since there's a big difference in the treatment across the board, across all circuits, and even in circuits where where the ALJ is required to listen to the testimony of the claimant and consider testimony, sometimes they will find a reason to reject that testimony and explain it's not credible because it's not in the medical records. What I suggest to our referral partners generally is try to get a medical source statement on the issue of medication side effects. You want some documentation on that point, and sometimes I suggest, whether you can get it or not, I guess depends on the doctor, but maybe an explanation as to why the medication side effects that are reflected in the MSS are not in the medical records. So if there's a disconnect, medical records don't actually address the side effects, but the medical source statement says there are side effects, then give an explanation as to why, even if it's a short explanation. Because my experience is that doctors aren't writing in medication side effects every single time a client comes in and says, I'm tired, I'm drowsy. Sometimes that's the best they can do, is give the medication anyway, and they're not sitting there writing in all that proof and evidence. So the medical records don't reflect side effects that the claimant really is experiencing on a daily basis. So you want to close that gap up as much as possible. I recommend doing it through medical source statements. I think that's the best way to approach it.